grazie. Good afternoon to everyone. It's obviously a bit hard to start after the lunch, but I hope our distinguished panelists will certainly wake you up with inspiring stories. This panel is about Seed Plus platform. The whole conference is devoted to digitalization and digital transformation, and the Seed Plus platform is really and truly a digital tool for digitalization of various CEFTA agreements and protocols. The seed started within the customs administrations in 2010, and since then, and in particular in the past three years, it really grew and started to connect not just customs administrations, but phytosanitary administrations, public health, veterinary administrations, market surveillance. So we are getting more and more into various different areas of trade, trying to share data, share documents in order to actually remove the burden from the economic operators and from the administrations to submit data and documents 2-3 times or even more. So it is about digitally connecting various administrations across CEFTA, but not just that, it's also now expanding to the neighboring EU member states. I mean, we've heard from this morning, Green Lanes Corridor, the tool behind the initiative, the digital tool behind the initiative is exactly the seed, it's exactly the Seed Plus. But let us turn now our attention to our distinguished panelists who will be sharing their expertise and perspective during the session in the various fields. So together, let's start from my right-hand side. Together today with us is Mr. Alexandru Donica. He's head of International Trade and Inspection Department from National Food Safety Agency of Moldova. Then we have our dear friend and colleagues, Mr. Mate Georgievski, desk officer from the Transport Community Secretariat. Next to me is Mr. Željko Franjic, Deputy Director of the Customs Administration of Croatia. On my left side, first next to me, is Mr. Predrag Jovic, Director of Administrations for Plant Health Protection of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then next to him, Ms. Gaia Parissia Saro. She's Seed Plus key legal expert, and she comes from the Customs and Monopoly Agency from Italy. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Goran Azdejkovic, Head of Market Inspection Department from Ministry of Internal and External Trade of Serbia. So these are my respective panelists. Before I give questions to my first panelist, just to let you know that we will take questions at the end of the session, at the end of the talk. So either for the online participants, write it in the chat, or for the participants here, just raise your hands and ask the question. So let us start with the first panelist, Mr. Predrag Jovic, and we will talk now first about CEFTA Traces NT. I said at the beginning we expanded into the area of phytosanitary, veterinary, and medicines product containing controlled substances, and we have actually established a platform that is based on the EU Traces NT that streamlines the certification process, basically issuing of phytosanitary and veterinary certificate and CHED-like certificate, and enable data and documents exchange among CEFTA from those certificates. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, actually 3 inspectorates that are producing phytosanitary certificates have been connected to CEFTA Traces NT in order to submit their data to the regional platform and push them further to the importing party, but also to collect data for those products that are coming to Bosnia and Herzegovina. So Mr. Jovic, could you elaborate a bit more what this means and what is actually expected impact of this connectivity on the daily work of inspectors, but also economic operators?
Hvala lijepo. Prvo dozvolite da vas pozdravim svoje lično ime Uprave za zaštitu zdravlja bilja Bosne i Hercegovine. Sve vas ovdje prisutne, a pogotovo tim koji sjedi ovdje s moje lijeve strane, nećete mi zamjeriti, ovo je prva 3 reda s kojim godinama već uspješno radimo. Hvala na pitanju. Što se tiče Bosne i Hercegovine, povezivanje IT sistema, sva 3 inspektorata u Bosni i Hercegovini, znači imamo 2 inspektorata u entitetima i Brčkom distriktu, radi razmjene podataka iz fitosanitarnih sertifikata sa CEFTA tresom i Fito hubom predstavlja značajno unapređenje u oblasti međunarodne trgovine i primjene poljoprivrednih propisa, kako za inspektore, tako normalno i za privredne subjekte. CEFTA trace sistem je osmišljen radi olakšavanja razmjene informacija koji se odnose na fitosanitarne mjere u okviru CEFTA sporazuma. CEFTA trace treba da doprinese pojednostavljenju procedura i ubrzanju kretanja poljoprivredno-prehrambenih proizvoda među članicama CEFTA. U isto vrijeme, sistem treba da omogući i efikasniju kontrolu trgovine i stručnu podršku svim učesnicima u postupku, kako ekonomskim operaterima, tako i fitosanitarnim inspektorima. Fito hub je globalna platforma koja omogućava elektronsku razmjenu fitosanitarnih sertifikata, kako ključnih dokumenata koji potvrđuju da biljke i biljni proizvodi ispunjavaju potrebne zdravstvene i sigurnosne standarde, posebno u kontekstu kontrole štetočina i bolesti. U ovom trenutku je već 88 zemalja svijeta povezano na hub i preko 40 dodatnih zemalja radi na povezivanju. Kao što sam napomenuo, inspektori iz 3 inspektorata u Bosni i Hercegovini koriste svoje softverske alate u svakodnevnom radu. Povezivanje tih softvera na CEFTA trace i Fito hub je zahtijevalo izmjene, to jest usklađivanje sa međunarodnim standardima. To za posljedicu ima da se inspekcije provode na temelju standardizovanih postupaka, promovisajući bolje pridržavanje međunarodnih fitosanitarnih standarda. To zauzvrat poboljšava reputaciju poljoprivrednih proizvoda iz Bosne i Hercegovine na međunarodnom tržištu. U isto vrijeme to koristi privrednim subjektima koji mogu ostvariti brže odobrenje za svoje proizvode na potpuno usklađen način u svim dijelovima Bosne i Hercegovine. Također za nas je jako bitan dolazni smjer, to je uvoz bilja, biljnih proizvoda i regulisanih objekata u Bosni i Hercegovini. Dobivajući unaprijed sertifikate za pošiljke koji potpadaju pod fitosanitarni nadzor iz svih zemalja svijeta koji su povezane na Fito hub, dovešće do skraćenja vremena čekanja na izdavanje ulaznih odobrenja pošiljaka, efikasnijeg administrativnog procesa za inspektore i privredne subjekte. A u isto vrijeme i podjednako važno, doprinijelo bi boljoj kontroli na sprečavanju unošenja i širenja biljnih bolesti koji mogu ugroziti usjeve, te osigurava sigurnost prehrambenih proizvoda za stanovništvo u Bosni i Hercegovini. Standardizirani postupci i brža razmjena informacija unapređuju sposobnost sistema da efikasno odgovori na izazove vezane uz zdravlje bilja i javno zdravlje. Hvala.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jovic. Beside the CEFTA traces NT that you just say that they will be great benefits to everyone with regard to exchange of data, we have also developed a bit smaller part, which is the notification system. What are the benefits anticipated from this particular system?
To je jedan od značajnih dijelova TRACES-a, je sistem izveštavanja. Sistem izveštavanja upravo služi da se kroz notifikacije podigne nivo kontrole, to jest upozori zemlje koje dobiju obaveštenje da podignu svoj sistem kontrole. a druge države što brže obavijeste o pošiljkama koje bi mogle da završe na njihovom tržištu. I svakako da ovaj sistem izveštavanja nije alat za senzacionalističko izveštavanje koje može da nanese štetu proizvođačima i državama u globalu ili vođenje trgovinskih ratova. I na kraju, svakako se radujemo razvoju i unapređenju ovog sistema u narednom periodu i mi smo spremni za svaki vid saradnje. Hvala lijepo.
Thank you so much. I mean, we've seen a small glimpse of the system during the eTools presentation. It's really the start of the development of something big, but hopefully we will start small and then grow further. Now I will move to Mr. Donica. Talking still about the same system, but completely different approach in Moldova. Instead of interconnecting their local system to the central system and then pushing and exchanging data with the other system in between the trading partners, Moldova has decided actually to use directly CEFTA Traces NT system to produce the phytosanitary and veterinary certificates, but also to produce child-like certificates. So, and that involves not just using the system, it involves also the component of the training and capacity building and making actually everyone, inspectors and economic operator, familiar with that. So could you provide us, Mr. Donica, some insight about specificity? How do you intend to use this platform and what are your expectations from the platform?
Thank you, Edna. Good afternoon. So, as you mentioned, we decided with the exchange of certificates to use CEFTA Traces NT and for performing of CHEDS documents. We had such experience when we use and when we perform the CHEDS documents using the EU traces. This tool, from my point of view, is very useful in terms for institutions because a lot of information we can get, we can have a statistical tools, and this information which could be retrieved from the system could be used for when we are planning the annual controls. I mean sampling, and this is good and for economic operators that they know and they see in the system at what stage are their consignments, or are they detained at the border, or are they released, or are they refused for entrance in Republic of, in the country. So, and it's useful for traceability of goods, because instead when the inspector from the border validate these CHED documents, automatically a notification comes to local veterinary unit, but it was released some consignments, and this consignment will go in their facilities. And I guess that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Donica. In the phytosanitary domain, as we know, all CEFTA economies currently employ the same model of certificate, so basically which already fosters significant level of harmonization. And we know that the veterinary health certificates, it's different. So what measures would be required actually to achieve a similar degree of harmonization across CEFTA economy when it comes to veterinary health certificates? And could you mention us some specific challenges or considerations that are unique to veterinary health certificates that may require additional attention or collaborative efforts to ensure a standardized and streamlined approach?
Well, yes, it's true that for phytosanitary it's only one, which is the same for all countries, but for veterinary It should be a certificate for, unique certificate for specific type of goods. When we start to harmonize the certificates, veterinary certificates among the CEFTA countries, and the expert from the specific fields, veterinary area, try to make a common veterinary certificates for CEFTA country. It was a little bit a problem because in specific CEFTA country, different legislations. And what we have now, it's was integrated the bilateral agreed certificates between the countries. But to degree the harmonization, I can tell you that it could be done if we will have the same approach and appropriate legislation for the all CEFTA countries. So these things could be done if we maybe will achieve these best practice EU practices and implement or transpose the EU legislation in national legislation. What we are doing as the Republic of Moldova now, because as you know, we are received the status candidate to European Union, so we have a lot of job to do and a lot of regulation of EU regulation or normative acts of regulation to transpose in our legislation. I guess this will achieve that to go with only one certificate for each CEFTA country if we will have the same legislation.
Thank you, Ms. Donica. That pretty much reflects actually the conclusions from 2 days ago of our veterinary working group, which basically agreed and selected 10 top product categories and identify gaps which are required to reach actually the EU model certificate, because all obviously CEFTA parties are on their path to EU integration and fits nicely also in the EU growth plan that's been mentioned this morning earlier. Thank you so much, Mr. Donica. Now we'll slide slowly into the online world. Here with us is Ms. Tatiana Shterova-Duszkowska. She's Secretary General of the Western Balkan Sixth Chamber Investment Forum. Unfortunately, she could not join us in person today, but she's here with us online. And thank you, Tatiana, for joining us. I will immediately go for questions intended to you. We actually, when we talk about CEFTA traces NT, and unlike previous seed that supported kind of government-to-government data exchange, G2G data exchange, when we talk about CEFTA traces NT, it really involves economic operators. So basically the first part of the certificate is filled by the economic operators. Prior it comes to the inspectors to fill the second part of the certificate. So while introducing the system, we obviously had to reach out to wide community of economic operators, to all our traders, and really Western Balkan CIF6 together, obviously with the administrations, but also with the local chamber of commerce, helped us reach to and synthesize the economic operator in this process. Tatiana, could you please tell us a bit about the sensitization and the training workshops that we held this year in cooperation with you, and what actually economic operators think about it, about the introduction of the tool, not just about the training, obviously.
It is a pleasure being part of the CEFTA conference. I regret not being able to be there with you personally, but as the topic of the conference itself shows, we are working and living in a digital world. So I'm really glad to use this opportunity to address you even via online link. you're referring to a very successful practice or a joint cooperation we had in the last couple of months. We have been cooperating closely with the CEFTA Secretariat on many occasions previously, relating to several activities or bringing closer to the regional businesses every aspect of the CEFTA Secretariat is doing in the different fields of trade facilitation, including previously, for example, trainings relating to additional protocols 5 and 6 and the statistics portal. So when you approached us with the proposal to join forces with you in the organization of the sensitization campaigns for the Chase SNT system and bringing the companies on board, ourselves and the Chamber Investment Forum, but also all of the 6 national chambers of commerce were really glad to join into the activity. And it turned out a very successful series of events that we organized. And this served several purposes. First, the new system itself, especially for the economic operators who are at first time assessing this system, had several technical specificities, and during the trainings, they were hands-on presented and clarified by the C+ experts. So participants, this including economic operators, but also the veterinary inspectors in each of the 6 Western Balkans economy, had the opportunity to gain a very comprehensive knowledge on the practical skills required to successfully use the CFUS Plus platform. This relates to several topics or just technical aspects of the usage of the platform, how to initiate, how to do the shipment registration, how to administer the template, how to enter data of pertinent information, what is the paperwork that should be adopted or adjunct to the system. So these were all issues that were really plastically and directly explained to all participants in the process of issuing of these certificates. And what is more important, these events provided a field for joint interaction between the economic operators on one hand and the veterinary inspectors, which is a very important issue because, in fact, in the whole process of issuing of a veterinary certificate, there are 2 sides of the same coin. So they should be working together. They are the same users in this system. So what was the total count of this joint exercise? There were a total of 30 trainings, which were organized from the last week of August until the end of October in each of the 6 Western Balkans economies. In some of the economies, the trainings were organized only in the capitals, but in many of the economies, there were also a schedule of local events distributed throughout the area of the certain economy in order to get closer to the attendees and get a more regional outreach. And that is getting closer to everybody who is interested in getting to know more about the functioning of the new system. And the total count when it comes to the number of participants is also very satisfactory. We had more than 770 participants in the trainings, which is a really significant number, including both economic operators and veterinary inspectors in all of the 6 Western Balkans economies. This practice has also continued with the sensitization campaign and the training workshops for the phytosanitary certificates. For now, 2 of the economies have been covered, that is Albania and Montenegro, with more than 120 participants. So we are looking forward to continuing the practice.
Thank you, Tatiana. Extremely significant numbers of the economic operators train and reach out, and I hope we are going to continue with the same pace further. When we talk about the economic operator, obviously the business community expects many issues to be solved at the CEFTA level to facilitate trade for them at much faster pace. I mean, we do a lot. When you look what we did in the last 3 years, it's a lot, but still for business community, they still expect that we do our reforms much faster. What would be the 2 most important things from your end that should be tackled, and what would be the benefits, and where do you see actually the major obstacles in reaching that?
Let me first answer the last part of your first question, because I omitted to do that. The feedback from the companies is very satisfactory. So let me state also publicly that any step towards digitalization of all processes is highly welcomed by the business community, and you can count on the business's support in pursuing all activities towards entire digitalization of the whole process, because it brings efficiency, accuracy, traceability. So when it comes to the two most important things that should be changed, maybe I will build on what the previous panelist was speaking about, the veterinary certificates. And we have the case there with the CEFTA system. We have a perfectly functioning software at the moment, which is helping both economic operators and the veterinary inspectors in this whole process. However, due to limitations, it has limited outreach in achieving the total effect of trade facilitation that is intended. On one hand, we have the situation of the non-harmonization of the template of the certificate. If I remember correctly, it is more than 30 different templates of veterinary certificates, depending on the country of origin and the country of destination. So the first step in further supporting trade facilitation would be the further working harmonization. And the second, also relating to the veterinary certificates, is that at the moment we are lacking the regulatory framework for mutual recognition of electronic documents and electronic signatures. So at the moment, what we have as very well functioning electronic system, again, has at some point to go back to the paper wallet of functioning. So this is another segment or another area where further work is needed in order to have a completely digitalized processes, and in that sense contribute to easing the operations of businesses operating across the region and bringing significant cuts in time and costs for them.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. It's like you took the words from my mouth, in particular with regard to the second aspect, because, I mean, with the introduction of CEFTA traces and actually we reach to the point where we have everything digital, everything available at the moment, certificate available at the moment that is issued. However, because of non-recognition of electronic signature, we are still printing it out from the system, and paper still follows the truck, even though the inspector at the BCP CCP has already access to the digital form of the certificate, but we still need to use paper. So that's going to be absolutely the priority for the next 3 years for the CEFTA seed new action grant, and we are trying to, even though it goes beyond CEFTA, we need to work with RCC and other international organizations and obviously our administrations, but that's absolutely a top priority if we really want to go fully paperless. Thank you so much for that. Please stay with us because there will be the third round. I will now move away from CEFTA traces and T and go toward the market surveillance. I think some glimpse of it you've seen today during the eTools presentation, but that was really just a small view into something which is available to the public. When we talk about CEFTA central database on unsafe, non-compliant product detected on the CEFTA market, it's much bigger beyond actually the data that is shared among the administrations. It's much more complex, and I would like to ask Mr. Azdejkovic if he can provide us with an overview of the system and the benefits that are anticipated for administration, not just for businesses and other stakeholders.
Thank you, Edna. From 2013, when the regional network for a rapid exchange of information about dangerous product was established. Until June this year, information about 1,788 dangerous products was exchanged at the level of non-EU Balkan countries. This confirms the necessity of a unified platform, which is currently developed and tested in the form of a dedicated software titled as CEFTA Central Database. The aforementioned database offers a simplified overview of dangerous products, both of the authorities and consumers. In addition to the product review, the authorities are enabled to enter all the necessary data in detail to ensure product identification as easy as possible. The product entry is divided into 5 categories, and each of them offers the possibility to enter detailed information about the product. The possibility of correlating the product information with existing data available in the ICMS database is provided as the separate category. Furthermore, the CEFTA Central Database gives an option for automatic creation of reports, which simplifies and speeds up the reporting process. Simply, the CEFTA Central Database represents a single comprehensive platform that will enable the detailed exchange of information about dangerous products. Taking into account all the above, it is clear that the advantages of such a solution are great, both for authorities and consumers. Authorities are enabled to exchange essential information about non-compliant products, while consumers are enabled to review those products and the information of their interests.
Thank you. Basically, we established now the CEFTA Central Database on unsafe, non-compliant product. Part of it is available only for authorities, and part of it is also available for public. And how, because this conference is about future as well, so it's seeding the future. So what, in your opinion, basically, how we can leverage further this established database, and how we can basically work further in a continuous improvement in market surveillance practices through enhanced collaboration, digitalization, and capacity building initiatives?
At a time when electronic trade is rapidly increasing, this database is keeping up with present time, but is necessary to further improve it and harmonize it with the regulations that will be changed. Further development of this software will require input from the CEFTA countries' representatives who would occasionally meet either in person or online to discuss the potential issues while using it and suggestions for improvements. Additionally, the CEFTA Central Database should be synchronized with the existing national databases. Even though CEFTA members are not yet full members of the European Union, this platform can serve as an excellent introduction and preparation for the ongoing joint processes. The current members of the European Union did not have such opportunities in terms of their preparation for membership. Therefore, for us, this is a convenience that allows us to make membership in the European Union for a formality, at least when it comes to harmonizing regulations and practices in this area.
Thank you so much. For the audience, the database is fully built on similar practices in the EU, so on the EU RASF, April, and ICSMS, and hopefully in future we'll try to foster further collaboration with particular DGs in charge of these 3 EU databases, so that we can learn and benefit from their practices, so that basically the alignment can go even faster in that regard. Thank you, Mr. Azdejkovic. Now I would actually move toward our origins. I would move toward customs, and here I look at my colleague Željko, who comes from the Croatian Customs Administration. We mentioned that last year, I think during the CEFTA Week conference actually, we signed 2 MOUs between the Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Croatia and Montenegro, about expansion of green lanes toward the EU member states. So Mr. Franic, could you actually elaborate and tell us more, what did you do since the signing of the MOU, what the MOU stipulates, and whether already now you have some figures and an impact on the reduction of the wait time, or prioritization or ensuring security and safety measures.
Thank you, Edna. Good afternoon to everybody. It's great to be in Podgorica. Yes, and in 2 days we will have the anniversary of our signing of the MOUs with our partner Customs Administration of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Montenegro. So it's almost a year, and it's good to reflect on what has been achieved so far. What I can say that we had progress on technical part of establishing SEED. So in this respect, thanks to SEED team, we have managed to install, configure, to train our staff. The SEED has been installed in 17 locations, I would say, border crossing points between Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and also one border crossing point, which is Karacavici, between Croatia and Montenegro. We have only 2 land border crossings, so it's 50%, it's something. As regards what has been, what results are measurable at this moment, not many, because as I said, we managed to do installation. Last year we had we rolled out 4 or 5 major Union Customs Code IT systems that we are obliged according to the Union Customs legislation. We had strict deadlines, so we have to follow these deadlines. It was the import, export, transit, and temporary storage relevant IT systems. So the most of our resources were actually engaged in this field. However, in the second half of the year, we proceeded to establishing technical components, to develop technical components for pairing information, which are arriving from Bosnia and Herzegovina and Montenegro, pairing this information with our transit and import customs system, and in that way to allow matching of information, which is one of the, I would say, a key aspect of the MOU, to allow matching of information, to compare those information we present from Bosnia and Herzegovina or Montenegro, and to adequately inform our partner customs authorities on the results of these matching. So that would be brief on what has been done so far. So I don't have, at the moment, we don't have any tangible results, so to say, on the how the speed or the reduction of waiting time has been affected, but this is something, this is the area where we expect great improvements in the next year.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, certainly when you complete that part of the matching, then we've seen earlier during the presentation of the e-tools, then we are able actually to match the wait time as per the methodology that was presented. And from then on, we will be able actually to measure the wait time and obviously make some policy decision based on those time that is measured. The same actually happened for intra-CEFTA, because we didn't have the first year. Everyone was asking, okay, do you know what's the impact? And we started measuring only beginning of 22, so 22 was kind of a benchmark year, and now we could compare 23 to 22, and we can identify bottleneck and make right policy decision based on those measuring times. But looking ahead, what are the strategic plan? What are your strategic plan when it comes to the future collaborations, especially in the context of the green lanes and trade facilitation when it comes to CEFTA?
Sorry. Firstly, I would like to mention that we have a great expectation from full-fledged established seed once when it will be fully operational, especially because in a memorandum of understanding that we concluded for the establishment of seed provide us this new framework of cooperation that is not possible when we apply these traditional instruments, customs cooperation agreements ranging from the SAA protocols on customs cooperation. We also have bilateral agreements on mutual customs administration because we rely, in order to cope with all the challenges arising from the facilitating trade flows, we need reliable information on goods, on means of transport, and also on people involved in transactions and movements. So in this way, what SEED is providing us is this systemic exchange of information, which is at the same time structured, that we have this predefined set of information that we can exchange on a regular way. Why is this important? It is important because this information that can be verified by matching in a short span of time, almost so to say immediately, is very important for our risk management, so that we can target controls, so that we can assess risk, and that we can correctly apply customs legislation, and in this way to facilitate trade. As regards our plans on future collaboration, we are, of course, open for collaboration. We have a long record of collaboration with our partners in Western Balkans. We have supported them in their efforts of joining or acceding and harmonizing with the EU standards. We supported their accession to the Common Transit Convention, the Pan-Euromed Convention. We have implemented and participated in several projects in customs administration of Western Balkan countries. So we also would like to expand this collaboration. When we talk about green lanes and what can be done in this respect, we know that there is a focus, the biggest focus is on trade and transport integration. In this respect, border management plays a significant role. It is a complex issue with no easy answer because of number of border agencies, especially the BCPs, who play their part. So it has to be coordinated and strategically guided approach if we want to have some improvements in this area. However, we would propose to our respective partners in Western Balkan countries some activities with regard to improvement of border infrastructure. For example, currently we are investigating, we are looking for the possibilities of funding improvement of border crossings infrastructure through the European funds. This is something that our partners could also try to be active and engaged in. The latest project we are working on is within the Connect Europe facility, where we are proposing improvements on border crossings Bajakovo, Karasovici, and also Tovarnik. So the border crossing with the Republic of Serbia and Montenegro. So in this respect, if we could have a coordinated approach from also from the other side of the border, we think it would be a big advantage to have this kind of approach. To conclude, also the MOU we have signed on electronic exchange of information, the SEED MOU, provide us not only in its introductory provisions, provide us this wider scope of cooperation. So we have on our disposal variety of means of collaboration in different fields, in different areas. So we are ready to discuss and to deliberate and also to hear proposals from our partners, and in this respect we are fully available for any cooperation.
Thank you so much, Željko. I think it's very important what you mentioned, that it is very complex. It's not just digital, it's a lot of infrastructure, but also collaboration among various agencies and not just customs. And obviously that takes me back to colleague Mate from the Transport Community Secretariat, with whom we started extensive collaboration at the beginning of the Green Lanes implementation, so already early in 2020, and we had several common initiatives. So Mate, could you then also elaborate what are the most significant collaborative endeavors and common activities that you have taken over the past few years, and how did these initiatives actually contribute to the advancement of trade and transport facilitation in the CEFTA?
Thank you, Edna, and thanks to CEFTA for excellent organization of this closing event this year. We're very happy to participate, and I'm very happy to speak on behalf of the transport community to speak about exactly the excellent level of cooperation that we have in achieving the same goals for transport and trade facilitation. Our cooperation stems from very natural reasons, because transport and trade are intrinsically interrelated, and therefore we have similar approaches in this regional cooperation that we are exercising. In the area of digitalization, because this is the main topic for this year conference, in the area of the digitalization is very clear. As long as CEFTA is doing the... It's clear that CEFTA is doing, assisting the CEFTA parties in digitalization of trade, whereas transport community naturally assists our regional partners, the Western Balkan 6, to digitalize transport and logistics. In the opening session, my director already touched upon the topic of digitalization of transport and implementation of digital corridors. I will just say that this is a key factor for green transition and economic growth of the Western Balkan region. It is already part of many strategies and legal documents of our regional partners. Digital transport corridors, they have synergies with other digitalization projects in the customs area, and hence our cooperation and our joining forces for final implementation, because that will be beneficial for the entire economy and will ensure integration and interoperability with the European Union, which is the main Western Balkan trade partner. Just to mention a few numbers. So basically the study that TCT Secretariat conducted demonstrate that impact of the electronic freight transport information exchange would be significant even with conservative projections, and these efficiency gains for the 5-year period would be amounting to 160 million, saving between around also 160,000 trees. What is interesting and relevant for today's topic is that the European Freight Transport Information System, so the FT, gates and platforms can be developed either from the beginning, or FT platforms can be based on the developed solutions such as the SEED system. And here we come to the main point of cooperation, and how indefinitely in the upcoming period we will strengthen and try to have this preferred option of using SEED to be the gate and the platform for FT. The second area of cooperation is the Common Regional Market Plan. It has been mentioned many times today, and the Green Agenda. These are the two topics that have been extensively discussed on almost every Sherpa meeting, chaired by the RCC, led by CEFTA, where we also as a transport community contribute in the part relating to reforms needed to integrate to the single market, and considered as a horizontal area of priority, as in the cornerstone of that single market, is the facilitation of the border crossing points, where we, together with you, we advocate for a more advanced model of joint and synchronized border checks, both on the road and the rail BCPs. And the third level of, not level, but area of cooperation is, of course, the extension of the green lanes, which has been elaborated so many times. So I just want to say that definitely on that we count on SEED.
Thank you, Mate. A lot of area of cooperation. I mean, extending the existing one and also starting new one, in particular when you said for the e-freight system. But going back to the green lanes, because I think everyone in the room wants to hear more about green lanes, in particular what Željko said, we are still not having this fully implemented, in a sense that the EU member state is sending systematic data back to CEFTA. So therefore, CEFTA Secretariat together with TCT Secretariat have prepared, in coordination with all the administrations, obviously, a roadmap for green lanes, which is extremely important development. Could you provide us a bit more detail where we stand with this, and how do you anticipate that this is going to unfold?
Thank you. Indeed, 1 year ago, we were at the very beginning of the extension of the green lanes. I'm happy that today we have progressed. We can say that, and we can be proud of it. I know that, you said it yesterday at the steering committee, that perhaps some things could have moved faster, but there are objective reasons for that. The colleague from the Croatian administration, and if you ask the Greek, Italian, they all had their objective reasons for this. However, we are very happy that 1 year after, we can say that SEED system is already widely used for exchange of pre-arrival information. It proves that facilitates the risk assessment, speeds up the clearance procedure, and also it can be used by other border agencies. For us as a transport community, and I know that this is also the priority of CEFTA, we will continue to work on the extension of the green lanes on every BCP shared between our region and the European Union, so on the external borders. And this is the first point in the so-called roadmap that you mentioned, where together we drafted these points for taking forward the green lanes. In order to do so, we definitely need the support of the European Commission, and we know that this has been widely discussed, and we had the necessary consultations and with all respective DGs. So I think now it's very clear that the legal framework should first be set up for exchange of data between CEFTA parties and European Union. So that is one of the priority of the roadmap, to this legal framework to be put in place in order to establish the full two directions electronic exchange of pre-arrival information on all main BCPs, CCPs. Then furthermore, the roadmap will focus on maintaining SEED as a monitoring mechanism to provide real-time data waiting times, also on capacity and trust building programs. Here I would like to say that TCT Secretariat already started to provide training workshops to the border officials of the main BCPs shared between EU and Western Balkans. We just concluded an intensive program of 12 workshops organized in the past 2 months between all pairs of countries. So Montenegro, Croatia, Bosnia, Croatia, Serbia, Croatia, Serbia, Hungary, Serbia, Romania, Serbia, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Greece, Albania, Greece. So basically we concluded all pairs. And at last, but not at least, the roadmap will definitely focus on improving and putting in place adequate infrastructure on the border crossing points and on the related access roads and rails. Then a new equipment, modernization of the equipment and of the IT. Why? Because no matter how much we digitalize, we also need to have the necessary preconditions, and that is the basic infrastructure. And we have seen from all the visits that were carried out by the TCT Secretariat that some BCPs lack even the core infrastructure. So that comes first, and then digitalization.
Thank you, Mate. Very well said. Digitalization is just a tool. We do facilitate quite a bit, but there are also all other aspects that need to be in place for it. Now, from green lanes, we'll slightly move toward blue lanes, and my colleague Gaia comes from Italian Customs, and they also signed the MOU for the expansion of blue lanes, because we talk about maritime transport here. But not just that, the Italian Customs has been a partner of the CEFTA Secretariat in the implementation of the SEED Plus project, and basically they are there since 2010 already working on it. So Gaia, could you elaborate more on all what the ADM has been doing when it comes to the SEED Plus and the CEFTA region?
Thank you, Edna. Good afternoon to everyone. With a great pleasure that ADM, Italian Customs Agency, and Monopolies enjoy the SEED Plus project. Italian Customs has got in its own statute the support to the European institutions. It's a part of its own mission as a custom of a new EU member state. And we can say that our agency, as already said by Edna, has a long and successful history of cooperation with CEFTA parties since 2010. And it played a key role in the development of the SEED platform. This initiative was designed to simplify customs procedures, as well as strengthening the economic and trade relations among the Western Balkans. In this framework, with this leitmotif, the agency has welcomed the possibility to implement and participate in the CEFTA initiative, aforementioned green lanes expansions, leading to the signature, the last September in Rome, of 2 memoranda of understanding with Albania Customs Administration and also Revenue and Customs Administration of Montenegro, established the so-called blue lanes. This pilot project has allowed, thanks to SEED IT platform, for a transfer of data from the Albanian port of Dures and the Montenegrin port of Bar to the Italian port of Bari and Ancona. The systems allows for the receiving of a set of pre-arrival data to the Italian customs officer whenever a shipment enters in Albania or in Montenegro with Italy as a country of destination or transit. When the shipments depart via ferry, a second notification is set, allowing for a match of data. I'd like to underline that Italian Customs and Monopolies Agency brought into the SEED Plus project the EU perspective, the EU know-how in facing issues related to customs matters and authority to them. We, as EU Customs, are steady called in facing problems, in finding solutions that have a broad scope, because we have the perspective of EU legislation, but also Italian legislation. It has been so a big challenge for ADM to take part to this project, which involves 7 administrations with their officers who have demonstrated big passion and, above all, high competence in their job. Thank you for everyone who take part to this project with us. We drafted with them the instruction for the custom procedures within the CEFTA economies in order to create a common risk management system, a way to share information, a very important key point in the fight against illicit trade, because we have to talk about fair, speedy trade, but above all, fair and safe trade. Our customs, they work with veterinary and phytosanitary inspectors, thanks to the single window, which speed up control without denying their effectiveness and efficiency. We also helped in drafting instruction for the CEFTA Trace NT, an IT system shaped on EU traces that we all very well known and use every day, because it is a very useful instrument for inspectors, for operators, and obviously for customs officers too, and at the end for the trade itself. Thanks to 2 meetings organized by ADM in Italy, in March in Rome and last October in Milan, CEFTA representatives had the occasion to watch how Italian customs work on field. They also visited the Italian border to the Switzerland in Como, and they saw an efficient example of customs cooperation between 2 different countries, Italy and Switzerland. A truck stops once to do customs controls, and that means the procedures are speedy and the trade is more efficient, because we all know that time is money. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gara, for such a brief overview of all the efforts and all the activities you did together with our CEFTA partners. But when we talk about the future, what do you envisage now? How do you envisage your continuous support for CEFTA, and in particular when it comes to the customs digital connectivity, as we talk also with our partner from Croatia?
Digitalization must be the key word of our daily agenda, but there are different aspects that we have to take in consideration to gain the best results. Harmonization of digital customs systems. That means that CEFTA and the EU member states could work together and towards align their digital customs systems to ensure interoperability and seamless exchange of information. This could involve the adoption of common data formats, procedures, standards to facilitate electronic data interchange. Development of a secure digital platform. Both CEFTA and EU could collaborate on the creation of a secure digital platform of the portal for customs procedures, a central hub of submission and processing of customs documentation, allowing for efficient and paperless customs clearance procedures. Mutual and another key point is the mutual recognition of digital signature and the certification that we talked about before. Because it's important to eliminate the need of physical signatures and supporting the digitalization of custom processes. Capacity building and training. That means we have to equip all the officials with the necessary skills and knowledge to efficiently utilize digital custom systems. And we also think that it's important to go on with pilot projects and gradual implementation because only with continuous dialogue and collaboration we can goal our targets. And we have to keep in consideration that digitalization is also the way to obtain a true paperless trade, which definitely is a very big goal for our administration, representing a win-win solution, giving the opportunity to guarantee controls for consumers' safety and security, but at the same time not being a hurdle for the trade. Digitalization is not a challenge, an option, or is just a mandatory path that we all have to work through for a very easy free trade. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaia. As we are slowly reaching toward the end of our panel, I would just say that basically that Seed Plus, as you could see, has achieved a very significant interoperability milestone. Is a digital platform connecting digitally various numerous information systems and trying to exchange data and documents. But Seed stands as digitally connecting CEFTA, so connecting CEFTA digitally and therefore transforming trade. However, beyond this realm of digital connectivity, I think Seed Plus has actively engaged people, really, and it's not merely technological advancement. What the Seed was, it was kind of catalyst for enhanced collaboration and connectivity among individuals and the sectors within CEFTA. So without all of you who've been participating on all of our workshops where we were trying to put the digital tool, actually without people behind, without people trying to push for it, we would not be able to reach all this. So, and also we've been also working with the neighboring EU member states, and therefore the Seed became kind of a catalyst for accelerated integration into the EU. So once again, thank you all for contributing toward this, because this is not just about technology, it's really about people. So because we are reaching the end, I would now just give a floor back again to all my panelists to conclude with one single sentence to highlight the most important activity for the future of paperless and effortless trade. So I would go back to Tatiana, who is digitally online with us. So Tatiana, one single sentence.
Yes, you hear me now. Thank you very much, Edna. It has been a very fruitful discussion. So I would end up with just one quick sentence that transition to the digital world requires real work in the actual paperwork. So my message would be support or just a general incentive on behalf of the business community to all national authorities to stand behind all activities CEFTA and all the other regional organizations are doing on field, and help them in processing what is being done, in really being transformed, in digitalizing all aspects or the entire flow of the trade within the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Donica.
Okay, what can I say? Digitalization is the future, and it will strengthen our capacity of our institutions to move forward and to do our job better.
Thank you, Alexandra. Mate.
As the Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy for Western Balkan 6 put as a milestone the year 2035 to make the freight transport paperless, I would say we're seeding the future with click, connect, transport, and trade.
Bravo, thank you, Mate. Željko.
Sorry. All stakeholders, all relevant stakeholders, including state agencies, trade operators, and other interested stakeholders, we all have to be on board. We all have to be coordinated, and we all have to be fully and committed to the development of computerization and the connection of all of our systems to develop interoperability.
Thank you.
Ja bih možda iskoristio priliku da se zahvalim, pošto najveći dio posla kod nas rade entiteti Brčko zajedno s nama iz uprave. I evo taj tim koji je pokazao da možemo zajedno i da zajedno sa svima koji ste danas ovde i što je najbitnije da ovo doprinosi onim krajnjim korisnicima i mnogo benefita dolazi. Evo, kao što sam rekao i na početku, mi su stvarno zajedno sa svima u Bosni i Hercegovini koji rade spremni da idemo dalje za dobrobit onih krajnjih i privrednih subjekata i poljoprivrednih proizvođača i svi koji su uključeni. Hvala.
Hvala velika. Gaja.
We have to keep on to digitalize the trade because we have to keep on to connect people to the future.
Thank you, Gaja. That was really one sentence. Thanks. Goran.
Thank you once again for the opportunity to be part of this meeting. And my only sentence will be, together we can make it better.
Very well to conclude the panel. Thank you, everyone. I've looked, there was no questions. I don't know if anyone would still like to raise any question. And if not, that would be used. Please give some nice applause to my panelists.
Thank you, Edna, for everyone, for everything.